Okay, today we're going to talk about normal operating tips, keeping your furnace running smooth. Once you get your heat settings set, the low, the high, your furnace is running good, you need to check this furnace a couple times a day to make sure that your fuel is burning properly. Now, we've talked about cherry pits, we've talked about pellet fuel, differences in between the pellet fuel and the pellet fuel review. The big problem that you have with the pellets, the wood pellets, is the moisture buildup that you get from the pellets not burning properly. You could be buy a ton of pellets and run a half a dozen bags, and all of a sudden you're going to get a bag that has some moisture, the pellets weren't processed properly, it's got too much sap in it, and you're going to get a scale buildup in your burn pot. This scale will plug your holes in the burn pot. It will not prevent the air to come up and burn the pellets properly, and therefore you're going to get the scale or the sludge pushing off to the side of your burn pot. If you see this, you got to get it out of there. Now, I recommend, like I say, checking your burn pot a couple times a day, and if you notice your flame is not running like it's supposed to run, or you're seeing this scale build up, I'm going to show you a simple way to remove the scale while your furnace is running. You don't have to shut it down. And what we're going to use, the tools you're going to need for that, is the little scraper that was supplied by a U.S. stove company. This one here is bent up, a little funny looking. And the reason I've got it bent up is so that you can get in there and actually push and scrape the scale out and flick the scale out of the burn pot. Open those holes up and let fresh, clean pellets come in and get back to a nice flame to produce your heat. You also have the scraper on this side, which I'm going to show you here later on in the video, how to scrape and clean that top baffle plate in the burn chamber to open those holes up. If you let the creosote and the ash plug those holes, you're not going to let that heat get back up into that heat exchanger. You're also going to need a pair of insulated gloves or mittens because it's warm in there, and if you try to do it with your hands, you're going to get burned. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to open the door while it's running. A lot of people think you can't open the door. The newer doors have the glass window in it, but once they get sooted up a little bit, you're not going to be able to see much. If you put a modification in, like we discussed in one of the earlier videos of the pipe plug in the top of your door, you're going to be able to see what's going on inside that burn pot. We're going to show you how to open the door when the machine's running. Okay, the easiest way to open the door, it's not a big deal. You've got to pull it up. I pull it out to that catch right there and let the pressure inside the burn pot normalize. That way you won't have ash flying out in your face. So we're going to open it up. Now, as you can see, I've been burning pellets, and I ran into a bag here that has got quite a little bit of scale in it. And you can see it to where there's big chunks there. That's going to plug your burn pot up. You notice how your pellets are coming up to the top of the agitator shaft. Yeah, you don't want that. So you're going to flick that stuff out of there. Any of the scale, get it out of there. There'll be fresh pellets coming in, they'll burn. Now we're going to scrape the bottom of the burn pot, because chances are there's scale that's plugging up some of those holes. If your agitator's in the way, you can take and push your agitator button on your control panel and you can move it. Just take your time. It's not anything that's real difficult. Now you can see I've got some scale in there that was plugging up. Once you get this cleaned out a little bit, it'll burn. Okay, so that's cleaned out pretty good. So we're going to close the door now and let the furnace start back up and continue in its normal operation. Now that we've closed the door and the furnace is getting back to normal operations, we flicked a lot of the pellets out of there, so we're going to put a few more pellets in there. And to do that, you push the on button and hold it down, and you can hear the pellets trickling into that burn pot. and a couple 3 seconds is more than sufficient. Okay, now that we've cleaned the burn pot of the scale, we've added some pellets back in to get the stove fired up good so it's putting out heat. We're going to clean the baffle plate on the top of your burn chamber. All those little holes in there, if they get plugged up, it's not going to allow the heat to circulate up into the heat exchanger, the back side to where your fan can pull the heat off. So you want to keep that clean. These are 2 things that you can do in between your normal cleanings that will allow your furnace to keep running smooth, putting out the efficient heat that it does. And once you get to the point to where your ash drawer is starting to get full and you're ready for a thorough cleaning, you can shut it down and do it at that point. Okay, now we're going to open the door and get that baffle cleaned up a little bit. And as you can see, our fire is going pretty good. And what you want to do is just, you see all the holes are getting covered up by the ash, and you scrape it out good. And you can also bang it to get anything hanging up in there. And that's all you have to do right there. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to oil your draft fan power vent motor. It's very important that you oil this motor at least once a month. If you're running, we run this thing non-stop. You don't want to put a whole lot of oil in, but you do want to take and put 1 drop in there every month or so. And you're going to want to check it. You can put your finger on top of the draft fan, and you can feel the motor running. If it isn't running smooth, you need some oil in there. And you're going to want to use a high quality, low viscosity motor oil. Nothing with Teflon or any additives in it. Synthetic is okay. And basically, I've got a little bit here that's getting a little low in the can here. But we'll put a little drop in there, and that's it. That's all you need. The motor will throw out what it doesn't need, what it doesn't use. Make sure you put your plastic cap back on so that the dust, you can see the dust from the pellets, the wood pellets that we're burning right now, coming from the bottom of the hopper where the auger goes in. That's normal. You want to keep that as clean as possible. We're going to be cleaning this one out here probably in a couple more days, doing a thorough cleaning on the machine. It's very important that you keep the machine clean. You let it get dirty, and next thing you know, you're going to start having problems. Take the time, clean the machine out, keep it running good.